Just
It's
about.
Dirty Talk with Füsun and Lawrence, and you look fabulous as
Mm,
always.
So do you? You're
Thank
looking
you, thank
very
you. I'm
fresh face.
wearing my queer shirt. I've retired the sock puppet from last hour. Oh my gosh, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. I've been put through my paces today, but I'm good.
Yes,
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I've had a work crisis so far, and various technology issues, but we're here. We made it. It's Friday.
It is.
We're celebrating Pride for whatever that's worth. It seems kind of appropriate that for our Pride episode, like the technology takes a shit, and
It's not pride if the float doesn't catch fire. Or
right. We lost our sponsorship this year. Svedka Vodka is no longer sponsoring Dirty Talk with Füsun and Lawrence.
KY is dropped out as well. They've said
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, they heard us. They've heard us talking about J Lube and other things, and so
that's it.
we lost that one. Yeah, word to the wise.
We lost the contract. Lost the contract.
Yeah,
But mind you, I never said a word. It was Lawrence on a Dirty Talk was bigging up the J Loop, and I was behind the scenes trying to, saying stop mentioning J Loop, Lawrence.
right. It's
It
true.
can't fit anything.
You were the voice of reason. You were like, "Damn it, Lawrence, what are you doing? KY is our sponsor. Only KY." And I was like, "The salad dressing? What? KY the salad dressing?" You were like, "KY's the lube." I was like, "Well, now I understand what I've been doing wrong."
Is it? Is it? But is it lube if it isn't salad dressing as well?
I, you know, I mean, it is true. Honestly, if you add a little balsamic, you could turn any lube into a salad dress. A little balsamic and some salt and pepper. Yeah,
That's gonna play havoc on my stomach.
I was.
You know.
That's that is not. Flashing back to episode one, bottoming. That is not on the approved bottoming diet list.
Just a disclaimer: don't put balsamic vinegar up your bum.
Right, right. Honestly, yeah. Probably worse than putting balsamic vinegar up your bum is eating KY as salad dressing.
We did it, so you don't have to.
Right. Come back for more tips from Fuson and Lawrence as we test all of the wacky things that you read on TikTok.
Yeah, yeah. So this episode is all about pride. It's all about
Happy Pride.
happy pride.
I
It's all
want to.
about.
Yeah,
Go on.
no, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna ask. I
No,
want to
you.
hear you. No, you.
No, you.
N- This could go. This dynamic could go on indefinitely.
It could. It could.
Um,
Because neither one of us will back down.
that's it. That's it.
I'm done. You're impossible to work with.
That's it. I've had enough. No, all right, that's fine. You go to J Loop or whatever it's called, and you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool.
No,
That's cool. You know what? I've negotiated a contract with JLube, and I'm not going to cut you in on it because you're being so very difficult right now.
I'm tied. I'm tied to KY.
I mean, you sold your soul to Big Lube, and that's what you get.
I know we should be supporting artisan lube makers.
Totally. I've got an artisanal lube. It's made with beeswax and honey and goat milk, rancid goat milk, which sounds gross, but actually the proteins work excellently for lubrication.
And Gwyneth Paltrow's pussy dust as well. That's in there as well.
I mean, yeah, direct from the source, direct from the
He's,
source.
I don't know, maybe.
I bought one of those yoni eggs off of Goop, and you just stick that up there with a little bit of honey and beeswax, and
So tell me about your first pride, Lawrence.
oh my God, thank you for getting us out of that loop. Um, my first Pride. So I moved to Seattle in 1994 when I was 24. And my first Pride was that first year in Seattle. It was, so June of 1994. And I remember going to the parade and going to the festival afterwards. And it was literally, Füsun, the largest gathering of queer people that I had ever seen in my life up to that point. And, it was just Seattle back in the 90s. So it wasn't gigantic. It wasn't, like San Francisco or LA or New York, but it was the biggest pride parade that I had ever seen. And it was honestly like, up to that point in my life, I'd kind of been looking for other gay dudes that kind of looked like me, or, just to feel like the community was bigger than, just the twinks that you would see on TV. And it was eye opening, right? Like it was just like a kid in the candy store to walk down the street and be like, oh my God, like all these people are either, queer or allies. And holy shit, there's so many hot guys. It was honestly a really liberating experience. It was probably the first moment that I actually felt pride of like, if we can all get together like this, there are so many of us that they can't stop us. You
Yeah.
know? What about you? What was your first experience like?
It's Istanbul when it was still legal to to have uh to have pride. It was 2010.
Yeah.
Um and was I honestly didn't know that many queer people existed in so of
In
course they do
Istanbul,
in
Turkey? Yeah.
Istanbul.
Yeah.
Yeah, like of course they do, but they were everybody was out, everybody was of course, it was a celebration, but it was kind of dominated by political overtones as well. There was like a lot of politics and a lot of like protest and things like that. Um but I remember feeling a big sense of like yeah, pride. I mean exactly that. Like
Like
I
actual
felt
pride.
actual pride, like feeling like like it isn't just me and three or four other people. There are loads of us. There are people of all ages who are out celebrating. There is the middle class in Turkey is out celebrating. The working class as well, and people who aren't queer were there as well as allies, especially Kurdish people as well. They were there, and I remember thinking it's absolutely fabulous, and I was
No pun
starstruck.
intended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous.
So yeah, I mean that was it, and I remember feeling really good, really really good, you know, S- and pride has been important for me ever since.
Yeah, same for me. That first year in 1994, I went to the parade, and by the next year in 1995, I was volunteering on the committee that helped put the parade on and helping to build some of the big floats that were actually in the parade. So yeah, it was really, really empowering. I'm curious. So yours was in 2010. Was that pre Erdogan? Was that before?
No, no, Erdogan was still there.
Okay.
Erdogan has been in power for 23 years now.
Wow.
Um, it was either 2002 or 2003 that he came to power. So
Right.
most of my life,
But he
he's
was right most of your life. When he first came to power, I know this is off topic, but like he wasn't terrible when he first came to power, was he? Like that was he?
no, no. I mean, yes and no. He see the thing is about Turkey is that we have a very very strict and protected constitution.
Right.
Not so much these days, but back then it was. And
Yeah.
the constitution has been the same since 1923. Um, and it's based on secularism. It's based on freedom to operate politically, freedom of speech, women's rights. Um, even queer rights are in there as well. But the most important part of that is the separation of church and state.
Yeah.
Islam cannot influence the government like in Ottoman. It's not a caliphate anymore. It's
Right.
it's one state.
A secular country.
Yeah, it's like secular. That's the founding principle, is that Turkey is a secular state. But mm, at the start, he understood how important this was to people, and so he didn't go at it as hard as he could have gone at it. But as he grew and advanced further and won two straight elections, which were fair, people, because nobody saw the problem with him. Yeah, he was a conservative. He was, he had religious values, but he never talked about it. He never really, he never really came out with it. So people liked him because he had fairly decent policies back then, economical policies.
Right.
But when he saw how much people like Putin could get away with, and other dictators in the region, like in Azerbaijan and all
Orban
those
in Hungary. Yeah.
Orban in Hungary. When he saw what they could get away with, he knew that he could also get away with it.
Yeah. Fuck.
So no, he wasn't as bad. He was tilting. He was on the verge of becoming bad in 2010, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that little history lesson underway, we're talking about pride. And the point of today is that we want to pull people on screen for a couple of minutes each and let people tell their pride stories. So, folks, we're telling you up front that if you're here and you would like to jump on and tell your pride story, we would love it. That's the point of today's episode. And if you're here and we might just pull you on screen. We might pull a Wendy and just pull you on screen without asking. Because that's what she does. Don't show up to a Wendy live unless your camera ready, because she's gonna pull you on screen. Wendy's volunteering to go first. Should we pull her on for a couple minutes, Füsun? Have her tell us story?
I'm so shocked Wendy volunteers.
Right, Wendy wants to go first. She's so shy and demure, mindful, demure, blushing.
Okay, I'll put Wendy on.
All right, here we go. Wendy, you have to act surprised that we've right. We're calling it pulling a Wendy now. We're just pulling somebody onto the camera. Yeah. If you stick around after Wendy goes, we're gonna pull a Wendy and pull other people on camera.
There she is.
Good for you, Lawrence.
Oh my God, I love it. I have to get one.
I'm gonna lose followers. My followers are gonna see this. But I wore this shirt just for you.
But the question is, Wendy, did Jesus do it during Easter? Because if he did, then you're going to lose followers.
That's horrible.
Honestly, my question is, was he any good? I would imagine Jesus knows how to toss a salad.
I hope so. Anyway, so the question was, I know, I can't go there. Here's the reason. If I tell you the story, the person who is involved in the story is literally not 6 feet away from me, and they're going to turn like 8 shades of red when I say this.
Oh, that's cute. Okay, is this a pride story or a first love story?
It's a pride. It's a pride story. So,
okay, cool.
So, my first pride was like 14 years ago, and I had been through. My first pride was a really disastrous pride, and I never talk about it because I was in an abusive relationship.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It was a wildly. So when people ask me to talk about pride, I talk about my 2022 pride. And here's what happened. I've been through numerous tumultuous relationships, and about 6 months before Pride came into Atlanta, which is in October, somebody messaged me on LinkedIn that I was first level connected to, and I had no idea who the fuck this person was. And so this person was like, "Your name's Wendy." "I don't know who the fuck you are." And I'm like, "Yeah, your name is," and in this case, it's Aubrey. I don't know who the fuck you are. And so we went back and forth and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Finally, she was like, "Did you work here?" And I went, "Oh, yeah, I work there." And she's like, "Well, do you remember Dead Name?" And I went, "Yeah, I remember that person very well, I might add." And so she was like, "That was me." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so turns out I told her my dead name. I'll dead name myself. I hate my dead name, but I have no problem using it. So, right. So she was a real like, I told her, I'm like, "Do you remember William, the tall Scottish dude?" And she was like, "That's you?" And I went, "Yes." And so we went back and forth. Regardless, part of the reason that I was really stunned by this was 14 years ago, I was going through my accepting that I was a gay person, queer person phase. And I had a huge crush on her. And I stopped talking to her because of that reason. So we went to Pride in 2022, and I was already starting to pang my feelings for her, like huge. And so at Pride, here's the funny story is that she brought her kids, and I had Gizmo, and both of her kids were with us, and my kid and her kid were chatting it up, and they were all having positivity and shit. And so I was like, "Oh, this is amazing." And, and then they got to leave, and I told my friend Cece, if you read the biography, her name is Cammy. I told Cammy, I was like, and Cammy was like, "I'm sick of hearing this shit." And so she got up and she went and found Aubrey and said, "Look, she likes you. You have to know this." And Aubrey told her, "Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. She's just gonna have to be patient."
Aubrey knew, and she
And
made
so,
you wait.
yes. And so all of the friends like watched Aubrey and I dance around each other for like a year. Like that tension built up over a year.
You
But
know
that
what?
pride was
You know what I love most about that story, Wendy, is imagining you because you're so patient. I'm imagining
she's
how
laughing. Don't listen
patient
to it.
and kind and demure and calm you must have been for that entire year while Aubrey made you dance like a puppet. How does that make you feel?
Well,
How does that make
here's
you
the thing.
feel, Wendy?
Oh, here's the thing. Like when she said she wanted to move in with me, I spent 8 months living with her in a house where she had her own bedroom. That was fucking painful as shit. That hurt like a motherfucker.
Well, I mean, the extra bedroom is only problematic if she was actually sleeping in the other in her bed.
No. She was sleeping in the other bedroom.
Oh my god, Aubrey, come on, girl.
Right.
As somebody,
Don't listen to her. Don't
I'm
listen.
teasing. I'm teasing. As somebody though, I don't know what your queer experiences have been like, but as somebody who didn't get laid for a very long time as I was coming out, it pains me to think about people who want to fuck each other who aren't fucking each other. Just because, yeah, I was an incel for like the first 10 years of being out. I feel like, but
Yeah.
you made it. You made it through.
Yes. Much. So yeah, thank you for allowing me to share.
Honestly,
No,
thank you
I
for coming
loved
on,
it.
Wendy. It's a really cute story, and
Beautiful.
yes, we want to post with like pictures that have little hearts and rainbows.
And it's hugely consequential in the best way. And that's beautiful, isn't it? Like that's the foundation of a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Well,
clearly it worked, because here you are all these years later, and she's yelling at you just off screen.
no, don't listen to her. She's laughing. That's not good.
I'm listening to her. I think I trust her. I want to hear her side of the story.
So I just one more quick thing. Yes, she finally started her Substack. So in one of my live sessions, probably Monday night's live session, I'm forcing her to come on the live session to announce her Substack build for her book, because she is writing a book.
Amazing.
If you're
Lovely.
if you're a horror and supernatural fan, if you like horror fiction, I highly recommend it. It's actually an amazingly written, well written piece. But
we heard that, Aubrey. We heard her say, "Actually, it's actually amazingly well written." Okay, Wendy, we're going to need to have a talk about being supportive of your partner. Okay.
No, I can't imagine. So yeah. So thank you,
Wendy.
No,
We love you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on and telling the story. It is an adorable story, and of course, I'm just teasing you. And Aubrey, I can't wait to meet you so that we can dish about Wendy.
I agree.
No, don't listen.
See, you've come on camera, and now. Thank you, Wendy. Yay! Everyone, give Wendy a big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, who wants to go next? Because we're just gonna pull Wendy and pull people on screen if nobody volunteers.
Dinah's volunteered.
Do it.
Like, Wendy's still on the chat. Do I have to?
Oh yeah, you can click the X.
Okay.
Yeah, the X, like the little X, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, top right.
Remove participant from video. That was a bit harsh.
Right? I know it feels harsh, but it's a little dumb, right? Like, think of how much power you have right now.
Exactly. I'm edging Wendy. Donna is Craig. How's it going, Craig? You still gay?
Hello.
Oh, it's non-puppet Dana.
It's non-puppet me. Lawrence, I'm still like cracking up from that hour with the opinionated ogre. Our lives as sock puppets.
Amazing.
It's nice to see you in your true form.
Thank you. It's good to be seen here in this other window. I'm on Dirty Talk. I feel so naughty. I'm going to make my story short because, I'm a straight person and I don't want to take up too much space. But my first Pride was with Lauren, so I felt like it was worth. This is my memory of. I think this was my first Pride. It was my first Pride in Seattle, so that counts. I'm sure I never went to anything Pride adjacent in Florida because all the reasons. But I just moved to Seattle. Back me up here on the timing, Lawrence, because you were talking about how you were on the committee in 95, but I feel like this must have been 96 because that's when I moved here. I just remember.
I was on the committee for 2 years.
Okay, so that does check. And I remember helping like rainbow balloons sticking on the float like the night before with you. Like I helped you build whatever float you were on. Was it for Northwest AIDS Foundation?
Northwest AIDS Foundation.
Okay. So I remember going and helping you build the float. But the big thing I remember is this was back in the old days when the parade was just on Capitol Hill and like this cool just off downtown neighborhood that used to be kind of the gayborhood, but now it's too expensive and it's just a bunch of Amazonians buying their expensive apartments. But anyways, I remember the parade coming down the street and, watching all of these like very audacious floats go by. And then here comes the Northwest AIDS Foundation one, and you, in your element, still saw me, and we ran toward each other and hugged each other in the middle of the parade, and then I ran back, to be a spectator, and you got back on your parade, and you came out really late, relatively speaking, when you were like 23, and we were 26 then, so it hadn't been that long. And it was this love of Seattle and a city where parades like this happen, but it was also just Lawrence is in his element. And it was such a joyous thing. Still sticks out in my memory. And I just you have no idea how cute 26-year-old Lawrence was. I mean, I have photos.
You're being very sweet.
With your little 90s flip hair, no beard, I don't think.
All right, this is too much information. Füsun, she has to go.
I'll find photos. Maybe not at the Pride Parade, but of the era.
No.
You were so cute. You were so cute.
Pretty.
All
You're still
right.
so
All
cute.
right.
But-
All right, Bestie. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining.
So cute.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
All right.
Yep, take me off.
We've got people turning us down left and right in the chat, Füsun.
Who's turned us down?
Craig has said that he cannot join us. Morgan X has said that she can't join us either. Although I do sort of feel like these people protest too much. So maybe we just pull someone on. Let's see. We've got Brandon here. We can always grab Brandon.
Yeah, he's coming on. Brandon's getting plucked from the machine at the arcades with the claw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
All right. He says he'll do it because he knows it's inevitable.
Yeah, he does. Exactly. It's good to just accept fate and allow it to happen.
Just lie back and think of England, Brandon. Kidding.
I think that might be the most problematic thing I've ever said.
Right. It is. I think we're both about to get canceled. So, it was a fun run while we had it, kid.
2 Füsuns on. There's only one of me, Morgan.
Honestly, there's no other Füsun that, like, you're incomparable.
It's here.
It's happening.
There he is.
Oh,
What is up? Brandon, you're very...
hey,
There you are.
I don't know. It says my internet connection is unstable.
It says
I'm
Brandon is
unstable, apparently.
That's
Hold
what
on,
it says.
hold on. It's my internet connection is unstable.
We get playback.
Brandon, you got to mute us on your computer.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I was watching you on my computer, and I realized, I can't join you on there. I have to join you on my phone.
Right. Yeah, we should have said maybe at the top, if we weren't so busy making jokes about lube sponsorship, we should have said, you got to be on your phone if you want to join. But hello.
Hello.
Are you sponsored yet? Yeah, it's wonderful.
Kiss me, bro. All right.
It's wonderful.
Brandon's like toxic masculinity. Oof, put it in me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kiss me, bro.
Kiss me, bro.
It's revolutionary, Brandon.
Yeah. I wore this to Pride one time, but I didn't get any takers. Well, one guy kissed me on the cheek, but he was just being nice.
Wah, wah.
I know.
That is not your Pride story that you're sharing with us.
No. This is first Pride. Is that what we're doing?
No, it's like the first time you ever felt Pride. It doesn't have to be like a Pride parade or march or anything. It could be like, like I fucked my first butt and that made me so proud or whatever, for example. I mean, not.
I think I'm going to go with so the first time I ever went to a Pride Fest was in 2019, not very long ago. So I went to Kansas City, KC Pride Fest, and it wasn't real big, it's gotten bigger since then.
I bet.
So that's what he said. But I was really surprised by the lack of clothing. I was walking around and seeing, topless women with just the pasties, and saw a guy with net shorts with a thong, and I was like, we're in public. What's going on here?
Was you outraged?
Oh, no. I thought it was great, but I was just surprised. I didn't think that was even that would be allowed in public like that. But yeah, it was
not in Kansas City, Missouri.
Right. But yeah, it felt I felt very comfortable there. I was like, sometimes when I go places, sometimes it's fairly obvious that I'm gay. I mean, I tone it down, in certain places, especially in rural areas. But there, I really didn't feel like I was going to be judged or looked at differently or anything. It was like everybody else is there for the same reason, and yeah, it was a really cool experience. It was just very I don't know, it was very comfortable and kind of freeing.
And you're going on a tour, right? Of Pride parades, right?
Yes. Tomorrow is the first one. Today's Friday, right? Yeah. Fucked up Fridays. Yeah. Tomorrow I'm going to be in Kansas City. The parade starts at 11, but I was planning on doing my live mid-afternoon, like 3 p.m. Central Time. But I might
let people get drunk and naked, and then you do your thing.
Right. Yeah.
When you see the first bottle of poppers, that's when you go live.
When you've seen your 100th bottle of poppers, you've gone too far.
Yeah.
Gone too far. Is there such a thing as going too far?
No. I don't even know what I was saying.
I was thinking about going live maybe during the parade, just for a practice run, make sure my connection works and everything's like it's supposed to be. So I don't know. I may do that, but as far as the actual schedule for it, I'm going to do it at 3.
Okay. Morgan keeps protesting over here that they don't want to come on camera, but when we were talking about poppers, they were very, very excited about it. So I think, Brandon, you should do a test run in the morning to kind of see how everything goes, and absolutely do one when the booze and the poppers are out.
1 second.
And the hot Kansas City sun, so we can see all of that skin.
Yes. You might see some of my skin, depending on what I decide to wear.
Ooh la la.
I have a quick question for Morgan. I'm going to show you something now, Morgan. And I want to know what the first thing that comes to your mind is. You ready?
Brandon, you're so innocent. I know that you don't recognize that.
You don't know.
Dynamite. That's all I.
In a sense, it is dynamite.
Yes.
It'll blow you wide open.
Oh my gosh, we're corrupting Brandon. He's so cute and innocent.
He is adorable.
Oh, stop.
Right. You're like, oh, stop. I mean, keep going. More.
I could come on if you wanted to invite me on at 11, or during your program, because you're going on at 11 tomorrow, right?
11 Central, right? So yeah, the Daily Whatever is 11 Central tomorrow.
I mean, if you don't have any other schedule or anything, you could bring me on just to show a glimpse of the parade if you want. If you want.
Schedule. Nobody reads the schedule. Yeah, we could totally do that. I'm otherwise going to be talking about the very depressing article I'm going to publish. So, maybe some levity of a real pride parade is appropriate.
If not,
we'll do that.
No big deal.
No,
I'll go live either way.
Yeah, we'll pull a Wendy and we'll pull you on screen.
I still can't get over that turn of phrase.
What? Wendy, come on. She knows that she pulls people on screen without a moment's notice, and it should only appropriately be named after her. It's an honorific. It's not a slur.
And it's not got anything to do with pulling a Wendy.
I mean,
the other Wendy.
She says that she hates us calling it pulling a Wendy, but Right? Then she confesses at the same time she loves it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We know the truth.
I mean, if it were pulling a Brandon, I would be fine with that.
Yeah. What's pulling a Brandon?
Well,
Or who is pulling a Brandon? So,
who is
who
pulling a
is?
Brandon?
Who is?
I guess that remains to be seen over the weekend, huh, Brandon?
Exactly. She tried to pull me on the other night, but I was like, I thought I looked terrible, and I was like, I do not want to go on camera right now. And, you know, just no.
No, you have at the moment a very roguish charm.
Oh,
You know, very, very bookish / roguish charm about you. You look very intellectual, but you also, in the same sense, look very much like you could fuck somebody up in all the
right?
best ways.
Yeah. What I'm getting right now is like, I can help you do the research on your term paper in the stacks of the library, but I'm also going to fuck you in there too.
right. We're gonna go behind the bookshelves.
Yeah. Somebody's getting laid in the library tonight.
In the forbidden section.
Right? Yes. In the forbidden reference section.
The adult section, yes. I've never done it in a library.
Where is the
We
strangest
put
place you've
thoughts in
done it?
it. You go on.
What? I haven't. I'm not very adventurous. I mean, in the car, in the movie theater, but well, in the movie theater, we didn't do it. We did things, but
Things and stuff. Yes, in the
things
movie
and
theater.
stuff. Yeah.
Where's the strangest place you've done it, Lawrence?
I don't know. I mean, the strangest places I've done it aren't all that strange either, right? A beach, right? Also in a car, moving car, stationary car. Yeah, none of them seem particularly extraordinary. Like 90s me would have been like, oh my God, that's crazy. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
Did you? Was the car moving because you forgot to put the handbrake on?
no, that would have been amazing. Oh my God. Yeah, that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
It was
about you?
love. Oh, probably a supermarket.
Ooh, okay.
Probably a supermarket, but it wasn't really dangerous because there was a skeleton crew on because it was 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because it was 24 hours, and there was really nobody around, and it was between it was the aisle that had laundry
Fruits and
detergent on
vegetables,
one.
I'm sure.
No, it wasn't that exotic. It was the aisle that had laundry detergent and fabric conditioner on one side and these novelty pillows on the other side. That it was Christmas time as well, and it said the pillows the pillows had ho 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 written on it.
Right.
And stuff. That's probably the craziest. Everywhere
Right.
else has been.
Santa came down your chimney while you were looking at the ho 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 pillows.
Exactly. And he filled my stocking, I can tell you.
Yes. Excellent.
At least the pillows were convenient, though.
Yeah, to bite. Well,
right.
Thank you for joining us, Brandon. It's an absolute pleasure to see you. And I hope you have a fabulous time this weekend.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate being brought on.
Lots of love.
Who's next? Füsun, I think we should pull a Wendy and
I'm pulling a Wendy.
Grab someone off the list.
Which way shall the scythe swing?
Indeed, the Wheel of Fortune. Fortune presents gifts not according to the book.
Robin has volunteered.
Robin will come on.
Good stuff. That's the spirit.
Right now, I feel like I need to pretty up for Robin. because she's Canadian and she judges us Americans all the time now.
Yeah, she is Canadian, isn't she? Sometimes I forget she's Canadian.
Yeah, she's she's very proudly Canadian, and mocks us Americans relentlessly, which we deserve. So there she is,
The Canadian.
There she is.
the Canadian. That's what you've been reduced to. That funny Canadian lady.
Better than being called American right now.
Oh,
It's the truth.
the dagger.
I'm so glad that I have some continental distance between this feud. I can pretend it's not happening.
Yeah, we sadly can't pretend it's not happening because it's our president and the richest person in our country or the world, I guess. So yeah, we're stuck in this little fucking TV drama that has been created. But Robin, what do you think about us?
Unfortunately, Canada can't ignore it. The dumpster fire was so big in the U.S. that it caught Canada on fire.
Right, I know. Those poor people. Yeah,
that's true. That's really. It seems like I read something this morning where Trump said that Russia and Ukraine was like two kids fighting in a park, and sometimes it's best to let them fight it out. And I was thinking, isn't it the same for Elon and Trump, that we should all let them fight it out? But then I realized that there are like very real world consequences for allowing them to carry on doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's really not that simple, unfortunately.
Yeah. Anywho, on a brighter topics.
Go for it. Brighten us up.
I'm sure my first experience of Pride. I don't remember exactly how old I was, maybe like 13. And my mom took me down to the Toronto Pride Fest, the Toronto Pride Parade for the first time. And I knew, about LGBTQ people, but it wasn't as talked about as it was now, because this was like 30 years ago, right? And she would have taken me earlier, but for the same reason Brandon mentioned earlier, like there's men clad in like BDSM gear and there's like dildos places. My mom's like, I think my 13-year-old can handle this now. So, but she actually took that time as an opportunity to kind of explain about some of the discrimination and the difficulties that people face, because it still would be another, I think, almost 8 or 9 years before gay marriage was legalized in Canada. So at the time, they couldn't get married. Yeah. So it was neat because it was obviously a phenomenal party and just an amazing event every year. And it's one of the biggest pride parades in the world. But she really took the time to explain some of the issues for it, which I think was in the long run what meant more to me about that first Pride.
I love that. I think it really gets to the heart of what Pride is about, not just kind of getting together and having a big party, but, like the first Pride was a riot, right? And the first Pride parades were marches, like they were legally, protest marches that had to be kind of authorized by the city, or, the cities that they occurred in usually. But that visibility over the years has gotten, I think, the larger population to acknowledge, like, yeah, this is diversity. This is representation. And, I think your story is probably like one of maybe millions or tens or hundreds of millions out there of like parents who use Pride as an opportunity to explain to their kids, hey, this is like the world is full of lots of different people. And here are some of them with fabulous, fabulous taste in costumes. And, this is how the world turns. This is what it's about. So
I think here in Canada, we're really lucky. It's, yes, it was a battle, but it's been a battle that's been getting better year by year by year. And
Right.
like for example, we never put LGBTQIA rights on the ballot. That is not an issue. Even our right wing parties are like, no, that's not a question. Like, it's fully ingrained in our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which is like it's like the Canadian version of the Constitution. So, you know, queer people got the right to marry. I don't know what it was, like 20 something years ago, and it was never debated to be taken off the table again. And trans care isn't perfect, but I do think it's some of the better options out there where care is included. You know, you can get it through your government healthcare plan. We're doing some things right in that regard. Maybe not everything, but we're doing pretty well. So yeah, I think I'm really lucky to be Canadian in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that is disheartening down here is, we had a good trajectory for a while, but it's kind of started to go back downhill. And Canada is sort of a living example of a place where rights have only ever increased and been made more broadly available to people. So, yeah, thank you for that. Füsun, what is the overall picture in the EU these days? I mean, I guess my general sense is that it's getting better, but there's probably nuances there I don't understand.
I think it's like a lot of people forget that the EU is made up of like quite often very different sovereign countries with very different values and very different things. So in the East, say like Poland and Hungary and all of those countries, prides don't really exist in the way that you would see it exist maybe in France or in Germany. But I think there has been a general step backwards for the EU in terms of pride. I think they've made a point to discourage people, especially businesses, from putting pride flags in their businesses, because this is a deliberate attempt from the center to stem the right, to say, we're going to pull these people off the stage for a second, so the right can't gain as much traction on that political talking point.
Yeah.
Because they're saying, well, no, we don't promote that anymore. We don't really want that anymore, But that being said, it's not bad. Like it's not like you can't have a pride parade in certain countries, and it's not like you can't be openly gay or openly trans. I just think on paper it's not as encouraged as it once was. Especially like I noticed a big kind of like peak, and now I've noticed a drop. So like the peak was probably about maybe 5 to 10 years ago. There was generally more accepting. Now that the issue has been hijacked by politics, the peak has kind of dropped. It's kind of plummeted. So I think we're more in a precarious position that right now everything is okay in terms of pride, and you can have pride parades and you can do it. But whether that will be the case in 4 years' time or 5 years' time or whenever, we don't know. It hangs in the balance. I'm sure it is probably the same in the United States.
Yeah. But honestly, I think, Robin, with Carney, Canada has become, I think, a beacon of hope, maybe in the way that America once thought of itself. Canada is now the leader in this hemisphere in terms of rights and in terms of social responsibility and care for people, Indigenous peoples and the queer communities. And, so, yeah, you, on behalf of all Canadians, please accept my thanks.
It's nice to see a country who actually do politics instead of muddying themselves in identity politics and having that front and center. It's nice to see countries being like, no, these people exist. That's not a talking point anymore.
Yeah.
Let's get on with economics and things like that.
Yeah.
And it makes our politics exactly what politics should be: boring as fuck.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, after the show, could you just email Carney directly for us? Or, you've probably got his number, right? Just call him up and let him know that he's our only hope.
I'll tell him later tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
you see him at the potluck, tell him there's an American, who's like, help us, Mark Carney. You're our only hope. Help us, Mark Carney. You're our only hope.
Oh, we're working on our plans for annexation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Great stuff.
To bring peace and poutine to your country.
Oh my God, poutine! You had me at poutine. You said poutine, not Putin, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, poutine. Absolutely, yes, excellent. Robin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Having me.
Nice to see you.
It's great always to see you.
And now Füsun has to click that mean button.
Click the mean
do.
button.
I have to remove the participant from the chat.
Ooh, sounds so harsh. All right. Who wants to be our last person? Who wants to jump on for our final couple of minutes to say hi and tell us their pride story?
If you don't jump on, I'm going to tell a really dirty story.
Oh, well, I mean, now you've basically guaranteed that you're going to have to tell the dirty story.
I know.
This is how she does it, people. This is how she commands the camera.
That's how sex work goes. I don't feel like it should be any different in any other walk of life.
The skills that she's learned, she's applying to the rest of the world. She's taking over in 2 more months, people.
Exactly. And I'm doing it one selfie and one awkward position at a time.
Right. One titty shot at a time, basically.
Exactly. Mason, would you like to come on?
Ooh, all right. I mean, he's observing that nobody's jumping on, and so perhaps volunteering.
I'm going to try and pull Mason on.
All right. Morgan is just teasing us because they're saying, I have a good one about sex with boyfriend for the first time in his legendary huge unit. That's no fair. Of all the people in the world who want to hear about your boyfriend's huge unit, Füsun and I are at the top of the list.
Absolutely. So what you're doing now is being a cock tease.
Right. Yeah. We swear we're not going to try to steal him away.
I've pulled a Wendy.
Oh, well, let's see. Let's see if it works.
It did work.
Hello. Mason Storyteller, how are you?
I'm just absolutely fabulous. I'm so happy to be here. Although I'm not Gen X or Y, I'm Boomer. But I think I have some interesting things to say. So thank you, Füsun, for asking me on. I went to high school in 1975, and I belonged to a clique that was boys and girls, teens, and we were gay and we were bisexual. And we all had sex with each other. I know that's very hard to believe because it was way before the curve. But we had the best time, and we didn't have pride parades back then. I mean, there wasn't even a pride organization. I went to high school in Michigan, and there was like the Michigan Human Rights Foundation, and they actually didn't even have their first pride parade until 1986, which I did go to. And they were playing "I'm Coming Out" by Diana Ross. And I mean, I loved that. But I just wanted to come on and say that, I've been here a long time, and I'm very proud. Very
good.
Awesome.
That's excellent.
We'd love to hear it.
That's it. That's basically all I really have to contribute. But
honestly,
I just
there's nothing more important, I think, than hearing from some of the older voices in our communities. And
one more thing. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't like to interrupt people. One more thing. At 1986 in that first Pride Parade, there was no B. There was no bi. It was still just lesbians and gay, which I think is interesting. I mean, that goes way back. Way back.
I'm not sure there was a T in an acknowledged T, right? I mean, there were trans people in those parades
until like the late 80s. I'm going to say 90 would be the safe year to say, possibly sooner, but I would go with 90.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a really good point that we've been adding letters, to our acronym for a long time. And there's a good reason that we've done it, because as more and more people become more aware, we realize that empowerment for everybody, regardless, is an important thing, right? Visibility and storytelling is important for all of us. So, yeah, thank you for pointing that out. It's a great point.
I'm thank you, Füsun. Thank you for calling me on. I'm not Gen XY, so I don't normally
No, that was the last show.
Neither am
I.
I.
Our Gen Xy thing before this, when it's Füsun and me, Füsun, you're millennial, right? I'm ageless. As the lady always is, you're completely ageless and perfect and beautiful.
Do I look 68? Come on.
No, not in the slightest.
Not at all.
It's all that sex.
No.
Yeah. Yes. There you go. We'd love to hear it.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Oh my God, this is so much fun. Should we keep going, or what do you want to do?
Well, I have in about 15 minutes of spare time.
I do too. Let's do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Does anybody else want to continue? Or can I tell my being chased by a furry story?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think do it, and then someone needs to volunteer to come on to put an end cap on your story.
Exactly. Otherwise, we're gonna have to pull a Wendy on Wendy again.
Ooh, yeah. There you go.
Exactly. So when I went to, I think it was probably my third year of being in Amsterdam, and they have a fairly decent pride parade. It's not massive, but it's not bad at all. And I went to this pride parade, and I was stood with my friends on the corner of a street, and I felt a hand touch my shoulder. And I just thought it was one of my friends, so I just kind of shook it off. And then when I looked, the hand was red. It was red and it was gloved, yeah? And I was like, what the fuck is this? I was just freaking out. So I turned around and there was this, I would say easily 6, 8-foot person dressed up as like a Pokemon, essentially. And he was trying to hug me, would not stop trying to hug me. I was like, fuck off, man. I was just trying to push him away. And then I tried to walk into a shop and I noticed he was following me. And I got the fucking jitters. So I just started fucking running. And then I looked back and he was running after me down the street, running down the street. And the police were there and they thought it was, I don't know, they thought it was some queer shit or something. It's
a skit, right? Oh no, we're doing an entertainment thing.
And I was shouting in Dutch. I was like, no, this person is really chasing me. This person is really going after me. And he was running and running and running, right? And I'd circled the street. I've gone down an alley and come back round on the street. And my friends, my friends were still standing there. And I was like, can you help me? This person is chasing me and I don't know what they want. And I went, no, I've seen that person. You're on your fucking own. And then they started running. So I was running and eventually they stopped running. And I was like, what the fuck was this? What was that? Why, me specifically? And it played on my mind the whole day. I was just on the edge of being traumatized, but also laughing. I was in that weird kind of purgatory,
Yeah.
And I'm in a bar later on, and his hand taps my shoulder again, before.
No.
Only, right? It was one of my best friends, right? It was one of my best friends, and it was a joke. The whole thing was a joke. My friends knew about it. They all knew about it. And he said that he was running and crying at the same time. He was just crying with laughter because I was like, "Oh, fuck off! Give me."
Oh my god! Oh my god! And you were like, worst joke ever, ever.
Worst joke ever. He still sends me a message every year on the day that it happened, which is coming up soon, actually. And he says, "Happy Furry Day. Happy day of furry celebration."
Oh my god! Oh my god!
It's so
Yeah.
rough.
Jesus, that is traumatizing. I'm sorry that happened to you.
It's okay. It's funny
Honestly, I
though.
think I would have nightmares, to be perfectly honest. Ugh.
Has anything strange happened to you at Pride?
I mean, the strangest thing that happened to me at a Pride is not, I think, particularly strange, which is that somebody who I was not at all attracted to was very in an altered state, drunk, high, whatever, or everything, all of the above, and fixated on me and, hit on me and kind of wouldn't take no for an answer. Which I suppose maybe I'm trying to make light of now, but I actually think that happens often at Pride festivals, that that there's there's a lot of fun attention, but there's also sometimes a lot of unwelcome attention.
A lot.
And there is this weird vibe at a Pride parade where it sort of feels like maybe the rules don't always apply, and like it's all about liberation, like just be cool. And you need to have really good personal boundaries to be able to say, like, seriously, I'm really not interested, like, for whatever reason. You don't need to go into the explanation of how, whatever doesn't match. But yeah, so I've had that experience for sure.
I think there is a big tendency to get caught up in the furor of Pride and to lose sense of your own boundaries and perhaps do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do, and which is quite worrying. But also, like, I think people forget that it isn't a free-for-all. Like, it's
Right.
not like there may be, like, it may be quite sexualized, and it might be, there might be people, like Brandon said earlier, running around with their, in thongs and stuff. But that doesn't mean because they're wearing a thong, you can go over there and grab them by the balls.
Absolutely. Right. Like, exposed skin does not mean touch is acceptable. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that. In the same sense, that argument could be made towards, like, oh, a woman is wearing next to nothing and she's walking down the street, so I can do what I want.
Right.
Like, no, like, it's not acceptable in Pride. Like, and like, I do think that there is kind of this, like, very libertine attitude at Pride, which is fun, but it's also very dangerous. Like,
Yes.
like, very dangerous, and yeah, I don't know, that like I've seen it a few times, and I'm very sorry that happened to you because it's very uncomfortable.
It's incredibly uncomfortable. And, I'll say that, maybe telling on the gay male community a little bit, that they're in spaces that are very gay. I think often there's this kind of sense of permissiveness and sort of I think libertine is a really good word to use. There's just kind of that general vibe. And, I mean, this is me telling on myself a bit, right? My nipples are very sensitive. They are very, very connected. And there are people who will, with no permission or, walk up and do things that I'm just like, good God, like, save that for when we're alone, but maybe not you, because I wouldn't pick you to begin with, like, please don't touch those. Those
Yeah.
are active and connected. Those are those are buttons that should not be pushed in public.
And I'm not. And that aside, like I'm a human being as well.
Right,
Like,
and I'm a human
like,
being.
like,
You know,
it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of a shame that happens. I think, like, you know, it's a shame that it's something that is so pervasive. I know people who don't go to Pride because they don't want to get groped.
yeah.
You know, like,
I have literally left Pride events or bars because I was getting so groped that I was like, you know what, this is not my vibe. I wonder,
exactly.
as a trans woman, do you experience? Because I think I've seen moments where people treat trans people as if they are objects to be touched, right? Like, oh, your hair is so beautiful, you know, or your beat is so great, or whatever. And I wonder, does that happen to you a lot?
It does, like, it, because also, like, a lot of the areas I've been in, I'll make a quick, like, side note. A lot of the areas that I've lived in before have also had trans pride as like a separate event.
Yeah.
And when I've been there, I've had that kind of with cisgender women putting their hands on my hair, or like, you know, like touching me or putting their arm around me, people I don't know. And they're like, you know what? I could never tell that you were trans.
Ugh.
And I'm like, why would you say that to me? Like,
Right.
like in what, like, in my mind, it's like, in what world do you think that's acceptable?
Right.
To do that to somebody? Like, it's like, you know, it's firstly, it's putting us at a standard. And secondly, it's really condescending and really dehumanizing. And like, I think by and large, the biggest problem at Pride for me is probably there are straight men who go to Pride to try and hook up with trans women, right?
Yep. Can vouch, have seen it.
And they'll go there to hook with trans women. And like, for me, it's like, I'm like, you know, like, you're never going to be successful. You may be, but then it's the way they go about it. They'll come up to you and they'll be like, they won't say hello. They won't introduce themselves. They'll be like, just to let you know, I'm only a top. I don't bottom. Are you pre-op or are you post-op?
Oh,
Are
fuck
you
off.
non-op? How big's your cock? You know, like, you're really hot and I like a girl with a big cock. And I'm like, I sometimes I think people live in alternate realities, you know. Or
Right.
maybe I am. Like,
No. I think it's you've got, you know, cis straight dudes like that who watch a lot of fucking porn, and then they get into a real life situation and they think like they're clicking the buttons like, oh, I want to see a, you know, whatever, you know, big dick girl, you know, who, like, they think they're actually selecting the category buttons on a porn site. And
exactly. And
yeah,
trans porn is the most searched porn in the world. And ironically, in the Middle East as well, gay porn is some of the most searched porn in the world. So I think all of this has gone to fetishize a whole community of people, some of which are entirely celibate.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know I'm a slut, but I know trans women who are not. Like,
girl, the number of Middle Eastern men who hit on me on Scruff and Growler and like, I've gotten to the point where I just block, right? Because all they want to see is your fucking dick and ass shots, and like, you know, and it's always like, I don't know. I just literally block on site at this point. I'm like, oh, you're messaging me from Saudi Arabia? I'm not even interested in having a conversation.
now, I'm also not interested in visiting you and then putting a fucking cage.
Seriously, right?
People
Like,
have fucking throw rocks at me. You know?
No, I'm not going to come visit and get arrested. You know?
Exactly.
Hide under a hijab just so that you can, like, smuggle me into your bedroom. Like, fuck that.
That's the thing. You got to be careful as well, because a lot of those people, there are cases where Middle Eastern men go on to gay websites to lure men in, precisely just to attack them. Like they'll lure them in and to attack them, and like it's yeah, the world's a fucked up place, Lawrence. Like especially on those apps, like the fetishization gives people. Because when you fetishize someone, you don't see them as a human being anymore. You see them as an object. You see them no more than you see a dildo. You see that person,
Right.
and so they'll just, to them, you are an object. They can do what they want with you, and add in like the whole like marginalization. This person should be glad for the attention because they're not going to get it from anybody else. That kind of attitude, yeah, that can go. I would say suck a dick, but I wouldn't want to give it the privilege.
Yeah, seriously.
know?
I've had some people, some kind of folks hit on me, men hit on me from the Middle East who act like I should be flattered. Like, oh, old man like you should be flattered. You're getting attention. I'm like, bitch, you literally do not understand how this works. I fucking get dick any minute of the day. There are daddy chasers out there who would, fly here in a fucking heartbeat if I let them. Please do not misunderstand.
Exactly. Well, I have to go, Lawrence, because it's getting close to past, and I have
absolutely
an appointment.
This has been amazing as always, Füsun. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thanks to everybody
pleasure.
who joined us and the folks who jumped on screen. We had a great time. Join us next Friday for another Dirty Talk.
Absolutely. See you later. Take care. Love you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.